welcome again to another episode of the inspiringkey.com podcast. In this episode, we are going to be looking at how to stay calm in stressful situations. 9 effective tips. Okay, this is my second podcast, so I am not that really perfect on all this, how things go here, but I'm trying to bring the best that you can ever see. That's the best that in here we focus on you, on your personal development, your self-discovery, your health, mental health, your physical well-being, your emotional well-being too. We also look at your health, your happiness, living a fulfilling life. Our goal is very simple and specific: to make sure that our listeners and our audience live the best life they can ever live. You get to live the best life that is available. That is the best life you can ever think of. To make sure you live it. That is our aim. That is my aim of creating this podcast. So, today I've said it before. Our topic today will be how to stay calm in stressful situations. 9 effective tips. Now, stress is inevitable in life. We all face challenges, problems, and uncertainties that can trigger our stress response. However, how we react to stress can make a big difference in our well-being and performance. When we panic, we lose our ability to think clearly, communicate effectively, and make rational decisions. That is why staying calm in stressful situations is crucial for our success and happiness. But I know your question. How? When everything is crumbling down, how can I stay calm? How can I stay calm when everything seems to be falling apart? How can we cope with stress without letting it overwhelm us? Well, you are at luck, because in this podcast, I will share with you 9 effective tips that can help you stay calm in stressful situations. These tips are based on scientific research, personal experiences, and common sense. By applying these tips, you will be able to handle stress better and achieve your goal faster. Number 1 is don't panic. The first and important tip is to avoid panicking. Panicking is natural. It's a natural reaction to stress, but it is also a counterproductive one. When we panic, we activate our fight or flight response, which prepares us for physical danger, not for mental challenges. Panicking can impair our cognitive functions, such as memory, attention, and reasoning. It can also increase our heart rate, blood pressure, and breathing, which can lead to anxiety, fatigue, and health problems. Therefore, the first step to staying calm in stressful situations is to calm down our minds, calm down our mind and body. One way to do that is to use positive self-talks. Instead of saying things like, I can't do this is too hard, or I'm doomed, say things that is more positive, like, I can handle this is a challenge, not a threat, or I have the resources to overcome this. You see, positive self-talk can help us reduce our negative emotions, to boost our confidence, and motivate us to take action. Okay, number 2, just observe. Okay, the second tip is to observe the situation objectively without making any judgments or interpretations. Often we make stress worse by adding our own thoughts, feelings, and opinions to the situation. We may exaggerate the severity, importance, or consequence of the situation, or we may blame ourselves or others for the situation. This cognitive distortion can increase our stress levels and prevent us from seeing the reality clearly. Okay, therefore, the second step to staying calm in stressful situations is to observe the situation as it is, not as we think it is. One way to do that is to use mindfulness. Mindfulness is the practice of paying attention to the present moment without judgment or attachment. Mindfulness can help us detach ourselves from our thoughts and emotions and focus on the facts and evidence. Mindfulness can also help us reduce our stress, improve our mood, and enhance our creativity. Okay, number 3, relax your body. The third tips is to relax our body, especially our posture. Our body and mind are closely connected and they influence each other. When we are stressed, our body tends to tense up, which can cause pain, discomfort, and stiffness. When we are relaxed, our body tends to loosen up, which can increase our energy, flexibility, and comfort. Therefore, the third step to staying calm in stressful situations is to relax our body, especially our posture. And one way to do that is to use progressive muscle relaxation. Progressive muscle relaxation is a technique that involves tensing and relaxing different muscle groups in a systematic way. Progressive muscle relaxation can help us release the tension in our muscle, lower our blood pressure, and calm our nervous system. Okay, the fourth, put your ego aside. Put your ego aside. The fourth tip is to put our ego aside and see the reality as it is, not as we want it to be. Our ego is our sense of self, which can be helpful or harmful depending on how we use it. When we use our ego to protect our self-esteem, we may deny, distort, or avoid the reality that challenges our belief, value, and or expectations. When we use our ego to grow our self-esteem, we may accept, learn, and adapt to the reality that challenges our belief, values, and expectations. Therefore, the fourth step to staying calm in stressful situations is to put our ego aside and see the reality as it is, not as we want it to be. One way to do that is to use critical thinking. Okay, critical thinking is the skill of analyzing, evaluating, and synthesizing information in an objective and logical way. Critical thinking can help us overcome our biases, assumptions, and emotions, and see the reality from different perspectives. Critical thinking can also help us solve problems, make decisions, and communicate effectively. Okay, the fifth tip is take a deep breath. Breathe it in once and exhale. The fifth tip is to take a deep breath, which is the fastest and easiest way to calm ourselves in a stressful situation. Breathing is a vital function that regulates our oxygen and carbon dioxide levels, as well as our pH balance. When we are stressed, our breathing tends to become shallow, rapid, and irregular, which can distort our physiological balance and increase our stress. When we are relaxed, our breathing tends to become deep, slow, regular, which can restore our psychological balance and reduce our stress. Therefore, the fifth step to staying calm in stressful situation is to take a deep breath, which can instantly calm our mind and body. One way to do that is to use diaphragmatic breathing. Diaphragmatic breathing is a technique that involves breathing from our diaphragm, which is the muscle that celebrates our chest and abdomen. Please bear with me with the pronunciation. I get there. This is my first podcast, so it's not that my second podcast is not that perfect, but with time we get it done very perfectly. So just bear with me. The diaphragmatic breathing can help us increase our oxygen intake, decrease our carbon dioxide output, and activate our parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for relaxation. Okay, when I'll do another podcast, I'll try to make my doctor to explain all these medical words, so to normal common layman English, so we can all understand what he's talking about. So I do understand what that means, but I don't know about you. So in our next podcast and other podcasts to follow, we lessen all those too much of grammar, so our understanding, so we can understand it better. Okay, the sixth one is ask yourself, what's the worst that can happen? I mean, what is the worst thing that can happen? Okay, the sixth tip is to ask ourselves, what's the worst thing that can happen? This question can help us put the situation in perspective and reduce our stress. Often, we overestimate the probability and severity of negative outcome and underestimate our ability and resources to cope with them. This can lead to irrational fear, worry, and anxieties, which can paralyze us and prevent us from taking action. Therefore, the sixth step to staying calm in stressful situations is to ask ourselves, what's the worst that can happen? What is that worst thing that can happen? This question can help us assess the situation realistically and prepare ourselves for the worst case scenario. By imagining the worst that can happen, we can reduce the uncertainty and ambiguity of the situation and increase our sense of control and confidence. We can also plan ahead, take preventive measures, and develop contingency plans, which can help us cope with the situation better. Okay, the seventh one is ask yourself, what do you see the situation as stressful? I mean, why do you see the situation as stressful? Ask yourself that question. That's number 7. The 7th tip is to ask ourselves, why do we see the situation as stressful? This question can help us identify the source and cause of our stress and help our perception of this situation. Stress is not caused by the situation itself, but by our interpretation and evaluation of the situation. Different people can perceive the same situation differently, depending on their personality, attitude, and experience. Some people can see the situation as a threat, while others may see it as an opportunity. Therefore, the 7th step to staying calm in stressful situations is to ask ourselves, why do we see the situation as stressful? This question can help us understand our thoughts, feeling, and belief, and challenge them if we are irrational, unrealistic, or unhelpful. By changing our perception of the situation, we can change our emotional and behavioral response to the situation. We can also reframe the situation in a more positive, constructive, or empowering way, which can help us cope with the situation better. The eighth one, build resilience. The eighth tips is to build resilience, which is the ability to bounce back from adversity and grow from challenges. Resilience is not something that we are born with, but something that we can develop and improve over time. Resilience is influenced by many factors, such as our genetics, environment, and life events. However, resilience is also a skill that we can learn and practice by adopting certain habits, behaviors, and mindsets. Therefore, the eighth step to staying calm in stressful situations is to build resilience, which can help us deal with stress better and achieve our goal faster. One way to build resilience is to use the 4C model, which consists of 4 components: confidence, competence, connection, and contribution. Okay, confidence is the belief of our own ability and worth. Competence is the knowledge and skills that we have and can acquire. Connection is the support and trust that we have and can give to others. Okay, why the last one, contribution, is the value and impact that we have and can make to the world. By enhancing these 4 components, we can increase our resilience and well-being. The 9th one is remember, stress is just in your mind. This is the key one. Stress is just in your mind. The 9th and final tip is to remember, stress is just in our mind. Stress is not a fact, but a perception. Stress is not a reality, but a reaction. Stress is not a problem, but a challenge. Stress is not something that happens to us, but something that we create and can change. Stress is not something that we have to suffer from, but something that we can benefit from. Therefore, the 9th and final step to staying calm in stressful situations is to remember that stress is just in our mind. And by changing our mindset, we can change our stress. We can see stress as a signal, not a symptom. We can see stress as a motivator, not a hindrance. We can see stress as a teacher, not a tormentor. We can see stress as a friend, not a foe. By embracing stress, we can use it to our advantage and turn it into a productive energy, positive energy. In conclusion, stressful situations are inevitable, but they are not insurmountable. By applying the 9 tips that I shared with you in this podcast, we can learn to stay calm, cope with stress, and overcome challenges. You can also improve your well-being, performance, and happiness. I hope you found this podcast very helpful and informative. If you did, please subscribe or follow our podcast in any of your podcast app that you are listening from. And you can also go to our website to check out what is going on. The post we post there almost every day. At least we post about 3 times in a week. So you just go there to look around, to motivate yourself, inspire yourself, encourage yourself. But because everything that is on our website is all about you. It's all about your well-being, your health, your happiness, everything that has to do with you, even your success. So make time to go to our www.inspiringkeys.com for more information and more entertaining posts and all of that. So that is where we share our insights, more tips, insights and stories, and how to live a better life. You can leave a comment below. Tell us how you feel about this podcast. And remember, stress is just in your mind, and you have the power to change it. So stay calm, stay positive, and stay inspired. You got this. Thumb up.